Aloha. Welcome to the Humans of the Heart Virtual Heart Council. I'm Lotus Sattva, and I'm really pleased to be launching this endeavor to really help cultivate more connection and empathy and unity for people all over the world who are awake to the challenges of these times. And I'm very much inspired by the recently departed Joanna Macy, who, if you don't know, is the founder of the deep ecology movement, which is really about recognizing our inherent connection with all of creation, with nature. And I'm going to share a quote here that I often think about in doing this work of healing from the heart. The sorrow, grief, and rage you feel is a measure of your humanity and your evolutionary maturity. As your heart breaks open, there will be room for the world to heal. A shorter version of this that I often repeat is sometimes our small heart has to break for our big heart to feel. And so that's what Humans of the Heart is focused on. And in addition to these virtual councils, we also will be doing uh, interviews, like a podcast, and different kinds of programs. And we have apparel, Humans of the Heart apparel, that I'll show later in this call that says things like, be the medicine, you are the medicine, love is the medicine, things like that. So we can spread the message of love and also help fundraise for the interviews and the programs and getting more engagement. So hope that you'll check that out, and really happy that you found this opportunity to get closer to your own heart and to the heart of others. So a little bit about my background. I have felt the pain of the world since I was a child. I'm what often is called an indigo spirit, which is someone who really didn't grow up with the ability to conform to the status quo. And on the contrary, just always had discomfort with the materialism and competition and capitalistic paradigm that I grew up in, and just always deeply in my heart and soul yearned for something more. Had a vision of an intentional eco-village community of kids when I was 7 years old, and have spent the last 20 plus years as an adult living and co-creating different intentional communities all over the country, starting in New England and Massachusetts and Connecticut, and then moving to California, Colorado, and now Hawaii. And so I am the founder of a center here on the Big Island called Hive, which stands for Healing Inspiring Village Experiences. And it's an incubator for co-creative culture. And a lot of people talk about co-living and co-working. So we're doing that. That's the intentional community aspect of it. And then we have another added dimension that really reflects humans of the heart, which is what I call co-healing. And that's based on definitely the deep ecology premise that we really need to feel it to heal it, that our small heart needs to break so our big heart can feel. But how better to do that than in a loving community of co-regulation? So I'm also in the process of finishing my second master's degree, this time in somatic mental health counseling. And I have been trained in a lot of different modalities for over a decade, incorporating therapeutic dance, mindfulness, meditation, ecotherapy, and decided to really kind of culminate all of that training into becoming a somatic therapist. And through that journey, researching all of the best science that's out there on healing from trauma and other mood and anxiety disorders. And I like to say that anxiety disorders or mental illness is often the canary in the coal mine, and that it's actually our society that is sick if 25 to 50% of Americans, and especially children, are believed to have these anxiety disorders. Likely it's not an individual problem, but a collective problem. And I think this has only been getting worse in the last years since COVID and the current administration in the US and other conservative administrative administrations around the world. So, in that research, what consistently is demonstrated is that it's actually connection and co regulation that facilitates the greatest healing and therapy and recovery from things like trauma. And yet, how many people have access to healthy co-regulation where we're actually able to share about our vulnerabilities with each other? It's very few and far between. It takes a lot of skill, it seems, especially as there's so much influence in our culture to be polarizing and divisive and positional and antagonistic of each other. It's almost normalized to act without love and empathy these days. And so, over all my career, I've wanted to see how can I make the biggest impact. And while I used to work on different political campaigns as an advocate and still do and will continue to, what I navigated was that it's actually people and it's actually on a core level love that really is going to make the biggest difference. And I'm afraid that with more and more technology use and especially AI replacing human relationships, our capacity and skills to love might actually continue to decline to the extent that empathy seems endangered. So I want to be part of unifying humans of the heart, people who are interested and willing and wanting to reclaim our wholeness and that what often is deemed a feminine side of our being to feel and have compassion and to really be eyes wide open about what's going on in the world so that we can be a part of the solution. That's that big heart, or what I call the earth heart, that we are all tapped into. And so today we're going to go through a process that, as we continue to grow and evolve, this virtual council might adapt. But for today, we'll start with a guided meditation that is to support your own heart coherence with yourself, as well as connecting all the hearts in the earth heart, that big earth heart that we all are part of, to tap into a vision and a visualization and embodied experience of that oneness of all of the beings, all of the humans that are here to be a part of the solution, to be the change we want to see. So we'll start with that meditation. And then we'll do some breakout groups, exercises where I'll give you different exercises that you can do with other participants on the call, or if you're watching this later, you can do these with someone in your life. And then we'll close the council with a circle, everyone having a chance to share a little bit about how today's experience was for you and what's alive in your life, and how we can all support each other to build connections and see where there's opportunities for synergy and even more empathy. So, the goal today is to really allow us all to feel safe and dropped into our hearts. So, if you're comfortable to, I encourage you to find a comfortable place to close your eyes and start to just take some deep breaths. If you can, notice any sounds of the inhale against your nose or throat, feeling your belly raise and letting any sound out on your exhale. Noticing the current state of your body, your emotions, and just allowing whatever is arising in you to be in your awareness. without judgment, just noticing, allowing whatever is present to just be. Taking a moment now to feel yourself fully ground into your body, into this place. Noticing how gravity is holding you completely effortlessly, like a Mother Earth holding you unconditionally. And see if you can just relax a little bit more, releasing any tension in your jaw, your face, your shoulders, dropping down even more into your seat. Knowing you are held and allowing yourself to become fully present in this moment. And as you stay connected now to this place, to the earth, to gravity, visualizing energy from above, from the cosmos and the earth's atmosphere and the sky coming down through the top of your head and just filling yourself with that infinite, expansive potential of creation. Imagining maybe there's a life force energy coming down from your head through your body, down your root into the earth, feeling yourself a conduit of heaven and earth, of life force. And just breathe into this visualization of light filling you, allowing the light to go anywhere that there might be tension. Feeling yourself just fully relaxing in this moment. If any thoughts are arising, just continuing to come back to your breath and the visualization. Inviting any support from the other elements, the sky, the waters, the fire of the sun, the space, the ether. Just welcoming all of these energies in your being, giving thanks for all of creation, all of life. Considering for a moment how you're breathing now, along with all other beings, all other land-based creatures, breathing in the oxygen and breathing out the carbon dioxide, giving and receiving from life with life. Giving thanks for the plants that purify our air, for all the wild ones, the bees, winged ones, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the creepy crawlers, the fungus, crystals. Just acknowledging and giving thanks for the miracle of this earth, of this life. Again, seeing if you can tap into that trust of the web of creation that we are intrinsically part of. That as alone as we may feel sometimes, there is no such thing. We are always connected. on some level, in some way, breathing the same air, drinking the same water, walking on the same land, enjoying the nutrients and the sensations co-created by our human family. Just thinking if there's anything else that you yourself are particularly grateful for. Be acknowledging your ancestors, your loved ones. Sending love to anyone who might need a little extra love and support right now. Giving thanks for all of the support that you've had in your life and that you're able to share the ways that you contribute. Really coming into this acknowledgement and appreciation of yourself. Taking a moment, maybe putting your hand on your heart, breathing into this self-acknowledgement that you found your way to this practice, that your heart is opening, willing to show up. And now we're going to take a moment to imagine that there is a sort of glowing orb of light that represents our heart, that is on each breath threading this light out into the universe, into this planetary atmosphere, creating a sort of web of all of the conscious awake beings, be they on this call or listening to this meditation later, beyond time and space, feeling yourself connected to each other, to these other hearts and souls who have chosen to wake up, to be a part of the solution in this lifetime. And see if as you breathe that in, breathing your own life force into that collective, if you can start to feel yourself maybe expanding a little bit, opening your chest, feeling connected, even though we might be in our own private spaces right now, knowing you are not alone, knowing we are here together, and asking each of you to send some love to each other, to the humans of the heart, to imagine that we are strengthening each other with this breath, with this practice. And then we can come back to this anytime we need, that we can find ourselves resourced in this unified web of not just humanity, but life, of which we are inherently belonging to. And from this place of empowerment, connection with self, connection with creation, connection with tribe, we're going to do a practice that Joanna Macy talks about as breathing through. And the invitation here is going to be that we will welcome in some of the pain that exists in the collective right now. And the idea is not to block this pain, but to use this empowerment of our coherent hearts to feel it, to breathe it through us as a practice of empathy and compassion. And Joanna encourages us not to cling to any of the emotions, but also not to resist. to imagine that we are a conduit, that through our own breathing, the awareness of this pain, we can digest and metabolize it to actually help transmute it and allow it to fuel us. So again, returning to the breath, let's acknowledge first this planet, the ecosystem that we all belong to, and allowing ourselves to feel the degradation and pollution of this Earth Mother. Breathing it through, feeling the pollution of the waterways, of our air, the climate change that's causing extreme weather patterns and droughts, storms. Breathing it through. Feeling the endangered and extinction of species who've lost their habitat, who struggle to survive with extractive industries that clear cut forests and overfish oceans. Breathing it through. Knowing that we can be part of that solution. Choosing to support protection of our Earth Mother and our resources, and to support sustainable industries through our own purchasing decisions and educating others. Breathing into that relationship with this abundant planet that we are so blessed to be a part of, that asks us to be stewards, to have right relationship, as so many native indigenous traditions around the world lived for 7 generations. And breathing that prayer for correction, for alignment, for reconciliation with this earth that we are inherently dependent on. And now bringing our awareness to the human realm, the social realm, especially all those in areas of political unrest, war, genocide. Breathing it through, feeling that pain of the human condition that continues to succumb to this division, this hatred, this violence. Breathing it through, calling upon our brothers and sisters to remember this one human family. Breathing this prayer for peace, for ceasefires, for diplomatic solutions. All of the children and women and elders and vulnerable ones that have been marginalized, that do not have enough to survive comfortably, that are in fear and trauma and survival, who struggle even just to have a roof over their head, or safety, or food to nourish them, who have illness and disease and injuries without treatment, who work for unfair wages, to support a corporate system of greed and exploitation. Breathing this in, feeling the truth of that disparity, that injustice and inequity that impacts so many humans on this planet today, that lack access to education, that lack a voice in democracy, that maybe doubt their own capacity to be a part of the solution. And let's breathe into justice for all, to the redistribution of resources with equity and empowerment and privilege for all. Visualizing fair living wages and subsidized housing and healthcare and food for all those in need. Breathing into that, giving thanks for those who have that universal support. And if we have been born with that privilege, giving thanks for that privilege, and breathing into the intention that we may help influence business and consumers to support these proper ethical models that transcend exploitation, that we may be part of supporting organic agriculture and non-toxic industries, our own non-toxic lifestyles of healthy plant-based cleaners and body products. And just feeling right now what's going on in your life, in your communities, in your nation, and if there's any people in your life struggling with addiction, mental health issues, relationship issues, career instability, financial challenges. Just breathing into that, allowing yourself to feel it right now. We too are part of this imbalance of these times, and it impacts us all in some way. Feeling compassion and empathy for yourself, and if it helps at this point, putting your hands on your chest or maybe even tapping right, left can help to support your nervous system to relax as we metabolize and integrate all of these levels of shadow that exists right now, along with all the blessings of being human on this earth at this time. Breathing into your own sacred heart, your own tenderness, knowing that you can be a part of the solution for all of these challenges, including the change you want to see in your own life and community. And even if you don't know how, surrendering now to that mystery and this practice, this choice to show up with both eyes open to be the change you want to see personally and collectively. And if you want to ask your own higher self, intuition, for a symbol or symbols to support you in anchoring this power of love and connection with these other coherent hearts around the world who are here with you awake, choosing love in the face of darkness, bringing light to the darkness, feeling it to heal it. Breathing in, asking for a symbol. It could be an image, shape, element, color, word, sound, all of the above, nothing. And if at any point through this practice you feel numb, breathing through that, allowing that to be as well. It can be our coping strategy at times. And the last thing I'll invite you to do before opening your eyes is just make a prayer right now of what it is that you'd like to see now that you have really harmonized your own heart coherence and connected with other heart coherences sharing this practice right now and throughout time and space listening to this recording. Take a moment to really allow yourself to pray, to visualize the solutions that you're calling in from the most personal to global scale. And see if you can visualize it as if it is so, as if it has happened. There's peace on earth, there is equity for all. We are fully whole and supported with abundance and contribution. And again, bringing your hands to your heart to anchor that in. And as you're ready, slowly opening your eyes. Thank you all so much for going on this journey together. And I encourage you to journal a little bit about your vision, the guidance, anything that you noticed on a somatic level in your body, emotionally, intuitively. And so the practices that we're going to do today are going to be about really being able to be seen and heard. So, what I'll encourage you to do, we'll break you out into groups of two and decide which one of you will be the listener and which one of you will be the speaker. And you'll each have 5 minutes. And the first person who's going to speak, you're going to share about what came up for you in this meditation and or what's really alive in your heart. And I encourage you to be as expressive as you want. You know, if you want to get up and move your body, or if you'd like to sing or cry or emote, it's all welcome. And the person listening, my invitation for you is just to really stay present and in your heart, cultivating empathy as the person shares. And if you have a question, you could, ask that question to allow and support the person to go deeper, but really just being with the person and holding space, not needing to validate. Although if you are resonating with what the person's saying, you can twinkle your hands or snap or just use some nonverbal cue to let them know you're with them. Hand on heart can be compassion. And yeah, this is just permission and an invitation for each of you to get to witness and be witnessed in your truth, in your authenticity. And so, if you have a timer, that's great. Otherwise, I'll remind you when 5 minutes is up. And before we switch, we'll give the listener about 2 minutes to reflect back. I call it an empathy round where you will just share how you were impacted. And so you might notice, like, where did you feel the person the most? or what emotions came up for you when the person was describing things, or if someone's describing their prayer or their vision, see if there's anything you're wishing for them that you can really reinforce. So the idea isn't to change the subject to be about yourself, but really to reflect back, letting this person know that you were with them, you felt them, and to share kind of what it was that really impacted you about what they shared. And then we'll switch and we'll do it both ways. So, starting with this simple empathy practice today, and when we all come back, we'll be able to do a closing round of counsel to share a little bit about how this practice supported you today. So, with that, I wish you the best in your breakout groups. Aloha. See you in 10 minutes or 14 minutes.